Nerdrotic.com.
Damn! I had to set everything back up again. I forgot I was on a new computer and OBS was just blank, and I had to put in some bells and whistles. I apologize for the lateness. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from my mom's vagina and Nerdrotic.com. Welcome, everybody. It's Hump Day! It's great to have a Nooner on Hump Day. It really is. We've got a lot to talk about. Including some Disney Star Wars. So if I'm talking about Disney Star Wars, the news can't be good. The news can't be good because this is something I truly feel apathetic towards. And I know there is, sorry, I'm folding my glasses here. I need to, there you go. That's better. It's been getting out of focus. So, yeah, there's been a lot of talk around these parts about fandom and what we like and what we don't like and who's a real Star Wars fan and the EU people versus the Disney Star Wars people. And, that's fandom. That's just fandom. And if it gets like too much for some people, I mean, like, take a little break. It's fine. But I'm not a black pill type of person. But I will certainly black pill a franchise that I see is just not worth my time. Plus, I just stopped caring. So if I was going to review Book of Boba Fett, there would be nothing in there for me that would, I always look for something in everything I watch. I always hope it's going to be better. I hope that even through mocking the hell out of what was some pretty terrible writing based on what I saw, that things might change. I don't think they're going to change with Disney Star Wars. I think Disney is going to be the last company to change anything. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Based on everything I've seen, every action they have made, not the words coming out of their mouths, their actions. And their actions are, well, there's going to be some more High Republic. There's going to be Kylo Ren. Well, okay, let's start here. Let's dial back. I dipped in on Book of Boba Fett last night because I wanted to see what was, I guess, the biggest choice since Sophie's, Grogu's choice. That's all I wanted to see. I wanted to see if he picked up the little lightsaber or if he picked up the Beskar chainmail, the cute little Beskar chainmail, which they're already in production, folks. The little Beskar chainmail baby Grogu's. And yeah, I guess if you haven't seen the episode, you might want to dip out because I'm going to spoil it. But, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing because there's some action-y stuff that goes on. There's a lot of fighting. There's some member berries from the prequels, and it's got the Mandalorian. Boba Fett actually appears in his own show again. He talks. He shoots a gun. But no, I just went right to the baby Grogu parts to see what was going to happen. And I'm seeing around the net that I was watching. Even Star Wars Theory was a little disappointed in this one, and I don't blame them because it was a total letdown. So yeah, a lot of people have already blasted it all over Twitter. So I don't feel too bad about it. Like, I didn't even do that. I just put up a tweet last night that you can't put the milk back into the titty. You can't. You can't unmake the soup. Disney Star Wars is made. No matter what they do, it is going towards the sequel trilogy. That's right. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The sequel trilogy remains intact. I would have loved it to go in a different direction. I think it would have been, I hate to use this word, it sounds pretentious, but I think it would have been bold. I think it would have been a bold-ass move to take Star Wars in a new direction and just say, F it. Yeah, we're going into the unknown. Sure, some people would bitch and moan, but you would get a lot more normies coming in and you would get a lot of interest. And I think financially it would have been better, absolutely better to go in a different direction, but they're not going to. They are absolutely resolute, and they are going to go right towards. So you know how this story ends. They're going right towards the sequel trilogy. You know how this story ends. That's why prequels inherently suck. Because we know the end of the story. And this will be the 10th anniversary of George Lucas signing the infamous papers that sold Star Wars to Disney. And coincidentally, it's also the 10-year anniversary of Star Wars' death. Because George Lucas's Star Wars is dead still. It will remain dead. It will be dead. What we have here is Disney having this thing for almost 10 years, and they still can't quite figure out the fandom. They can't figure out what you guys want. They listen way too much to Twitter, and they don't listen enough to regular fans who just like Luke Skywalker. Problem is, you're not going to just like any Luke Skywalker. You're not going to like some other actor playing Luke Skywalker. You want Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker. Well, we can't do that. They had their one chance, and they blew it. Biggest mistake, biggest cinematic mistake in history. The analogy is, what if you got the Beatles back together and you just recorded a bunch of solo albums? That's what they did. And it doesn't bring me any joy. If people still want to, by the way, if you want to enjoy the show, enjoy the show. I'm not here to tell you what to do. If you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't want, don't. I've made my reasons why I'm not covering it clear. I stand with Gina Carano. That hasn't changed. And quite frankly, I don't believe that even if I cared and I covered Book of Boba Fett, I don't know if it would get a lot of traction around these parts, around on my channel. I just don't know. I put up before it aired. I put up a poll, the first poll I've ever put up in the why am I blanking on the name, in the community section, and it was 70-30. I asked, "Are you interested in Book of Boba Fett?" And it was 7% said no, 30% said yes. That pretty much answered it for me. Other fish to fry. But I mean, I know there's been a lot of back and forth with fans. I would just say if somebody was holding out hope and they're a little bummed out today, just give them a little man hug, give them a little pat in the back, say it's okay, buddy. We all want to have hope. We do. But this is why, this is why I stay out of that realm of. I'll speculate all day long. That's what fans do, and that's fine. And fans have always done that. But I stay out of that rumor thing now because it's just, there's so much. There's a new thing on Reddit and 4chan almost every other day that contradicts the previous thing. It's crazy, and it's funny. And some of the more insane things for Book of Boba Fett was Leia would show up pregnant with twins. Right down to Han Solo, like there being a reunion at the end of this. And that still could happen. That might happen in Ahsoka, but let me tell you why this is bad writing. And again, I only watch bits and pieces and I've watched it through EFAP and I'm not going to review it because I think it's terrible. But let me give you a couple of examples why Disney is horrific at storytelling right now. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. This is a company that hasn't innovated jack shit in years. They just buy things and they ruin them. All right, so we'll go to Ahsoka meeting Luke for the first time. That should have happened on screen. A lot of people have said that, and I totally agree. I could care less about Ahsoka. I know Jeremy likes her, but I could care less. But that meeting should have been like a huge emotional moment. Remember when Jon Snow saw Sansa for the first time at Castle Black? That was like in season 5, which was, mixed, but that was a powerful scene. That's what you want as a writer. You're dying for stuff like that. So you missed that opportunity, right? They don't show Grogu making the decision. That happens off screen. People might argue against that. I think that was dumb. Let's go back to what was it in Hawkeye, Disney Plus's Hawkeye. You bring back Kingpin in a show that already had a bunch of cameos from other people anyway, and then you just absolutely cuck him in the last episode. And this is Disney Star Wars. You bring back Boba Fett, and what do? You make him a buffoon in his own series, and he gets outshined or shown by the Mandalorian, who comes back and I've never seen anything like that before, where a season of a show stops and they insert a couple of episodes from another show and then have a finale for the last show. That's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And even the people who liked this stuff aren't liking it. But this is Disney Star Wars because they're not interested in telling a story. They're not interested in Star Wars fans. This is a revenue stream. This is a revenue stream for them. This is the company that didn't put Han, Luke, and Leia in a scene together. And even the big scene at the end on December, I believe it was 18th of 2020, when the big scene where Luke came back. A lot of people pointed this out. Luke just takes Grogu and leaves and doesn't even go, like, what's going on here? I just, cut through a bunch of fucking droids, a bunch of, Imperial-looking droids, and there's a Moff laying down there. What's going on? Doesn't even bother to ask. And it's because they were restricted, right? They're restricted because they can't have them talking too much. And it's at that point, why bother? Hollywood has never understood this. You only get one crack at something. Like if you think about X-Men with the Dark Phoenix saga, they've now ruined it twice. And the impact of how great that story is now lost unless they wait 20 years, which I'm sure they will do the Dark Phoenix probably right off the bat when they come back. Because powerful women. But it's truly a great story that loses all its emotional impact because you're trying to tell it in 15-minute increments in a two-hour movie. It's something that needs to be told over time. They won't tell stories. Why? Well, there's a lot of reasons. There's time limits. I'm sure the COOF limited them. Then there's also a checklist of parameters that have to be followed before you even start writing a script. This is something we've talked about for a very long time on this channel and many others. And that's why a lot of the writing has gone completely downhill. I'm currently reading, where'd it go? Oh, it's gone now. Christian Toto wrote a book that I'm reading right now. He sent it to me. That's breaking all this down. We're also going to look at a trailer for some of the worst propaganda that we've ever seen, and I'm going to show you once again what's the source of all this. Because there's people out there who just say this stuff doesn't exist, although it's out in the open. It's absolutely out in the open. Critical theory has permeated its way through Hollywood, through political activism and funding. I'm still digging to find out who the source of all the funding is. There's a lot of foundations, philanthropic foundations, that are funding a lot of the papers that are going to Hollywood writers' rooms telling you what to write and what not to write. Like the Ford Foundation or the Roddenberry Foundation. And considering what we just saw with Joe Rogan, the political takedown of Joe Rogan, I mean, this shouldn't surprise anybody at this point. So there's that. I'll talk more about Disney Star Wars, but it's I think it's good that they pretty much, I mean, there's still people who are not going to believe it. Okay, don't. But aside from confirming that the sequel trilogy is intact in the finale of the Book of Boba Fett, they've also confirmed it in comic books. They've confirmed it in books. They've confirmed it in a ride. They've confirmed it in a hotel. Kylo Ren, his imagery is in the hotel, the Galactic Star Cruiser. There's a ride with the First Order. They're not going. It's not going anywhere. I wish it was. I really wish I was wrong. I would love to eat tons of crow on all this stuff. I want to be wrong about Lord of the Rings. I want to be wrong about Marvel. I want to be wrong about all of this stuff. I have no problem, because if we got, good television, good Marvel, I'd be happy. But nope. It's going to be a lot of jingling keys, a lot of nostalgia bait to prop up what will be just some pretty cringe woke characters. I was packing last night, and I was watching a little TV, and I watched Reacher. I thought Reacher's pretty good. I got through 4 episodes. It's it's not reinventing the wheel or anything, but it's good. It's entertaining. I like it. All right. First, let's go to let's see who's here. Yeah, I had to set up all my scenes here. There we go. Bastard, what's up? Hyperion 4671, Scott, Christy Jones, John Goras, Daddy Z, Mark Lerzette and his wrench, Jennifer Cisco and her wrench, Jason Gorton, John T. Levine, Ivan Ivanovich. Oh, now it's going too fast. See, now I got to slow it down. Itachi Uchiha. Common Sense. What's up, Common Sense? The fantastic Mr. Knox. Tannhauser Gate. Rex Hutchinson. Dark Jedi Knight. Your boy Zach's Unkempt Lawn. You know what my solution's going to be? Fake grass. Never have to mow that shit. Straight up old man fake grass. It was one of the first things I brought up when we got our new house. I'm all, Mrs. Nerdrotic, we're going to get some fake grass. And she said, she signed off on it. And I'm like, thank you. It's one of the things I'm looking forward to. Hail to you, Daniel. How are you, buddy? Keely Chow, hail. 3D Honda, hail. Electric Junkie, what's up? Nick Decker. Uncle Remus. Viper Crest, welcome. Grant Laundry. Chris Persia, the Canadian wrench. Hail Canada. Oh, wait. Hail Canada. Darius Munchausen. Hail. And Justin Lemons and Grandfall. What's up? Thank you, Michael B, a.k.a. Shogun Gaming, for the 14 Danish krona and the phallic unicorn. That, of course, comes from the Unicorn Store, Brie Larson's movie, which was about the D, which is all about the D. All about the D. Oh, we can't have that blocking the chat. Let's have it blocking me. There we go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Nerdrotic Dinner. My goodness. Lots of dust. All right, let's check out what Bounding has to say about Disney Star Wars here. There's not a lot going. I mean, the Oscars made their announcement. How stupid are the Oscars? How ungrateful. The movie that, saved Hollywood's ass. Spider-Man No Way Home doesn't get a Best Picture nom. And the reason they extended it out to 10 nominations was precisely for these reasons, so they can get somebody under the age of 70 to watch their show. Now they guaranteed nobody's going to watch their show. Nobody was going to watch anyway. And I could make another video about how the ratings might have, gone up a little bit from the horrendous year they had last year because actual movies came out. But I still think it's going to be a total ratings disaster. And I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. So we got John F. Trent, Mr. John F. Trent, future Pulitzer Prize winner. Let's see if I did this right now. I did. Oh, no, I didn't. Hang on. I just layered that like a boomer. There we go. And then why isn't Meteors? Oh, I know why. Let's get that to loop. Boom. There are the stars. They're back. The signature stars. We got to, oh shit. That was a boomer too. We got to move that over here. Give me just a moment. There we go. Can't have that block in the article. That can go right there. Lucasfilm again confirms The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett lead to the sequel trilogy. And again, this is something that, Jesus, bounding. Chill on the ads a little bit. Again, this is something, I mean, Disney hasn't been quiet about this. I think they were smart to be coy about it because when people are talking about rumors, they're talking about Star Wars. And if people are talking about Star Wars, that's a good thing. And that's another reason I'll dip in when Kathleen Kennedy's gone or Pablo Hidalgo's really gone or probably with Kenobi with the rematch between Vader and Kenobi because that's just going to be cringe. I know people are going to love the fight and that's going to be great, but like it kind of destroys the canon of the original trilogy, which is the thing that I like. Lucasfilm confirmed once again that The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett led to the sequel trilogy and the desecration of Luke Skywalker and Star Wars and Han Solo. In a blog post on the official Star Wars website, Lucasfilm confirmed the temple being built in Chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett is the temple destroyed by Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi. Kristen Baver confirms, she's the one who makes all those videos, and then below all the videos, it says, I stand with Gina Carano. That's still happening, which is great. We've glimpsed Luke's story temple in comic books and on film, although to be fair, it was mostly rubble and flame in Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Now we turn back the clock to see the new Jedi school as at its inception, with androids working hard to place every stone on the first humble hut. All right, so there's the hut. The newly released Chapter 7 of the Book of Boba Fett. By the way, where was the book? Where was the fucking book? I didn't see a book. In the Book of Eli, a movie I like, I actually went to the premiere for that one. That was one of the few movies I got to see a premiere because I know Gary Whitta is not like super popular around these parts, but I met the guy a couple times. He lived in San Francisco. We worked on, I was doing a documentary and we were working on a comic that I think the comic, it did come out eventually. Oliver. So it was supposed to be Oliver Twist. But in the future, it was a twist on Oliver Twist. And he wrote it and Derek Robertson did the art. So I was there filming as they designed the logo and they shot it. So I got it was through film school and knowing Derek and stuff. And this is before the dark times, before the woke times where, creatives even, like I wouldn't even say Gary Whitta was that well known. I think Death Jr. was the only thing he was known for at the time, would start, talking about politics. And of course, he made the infamous statement before Rogue One, which we'll get to in a second. But I digress. Let's get back to this. So the newly released Chapter 7 of the Book of Boba Fett would also provide more confirmation. The show leads to the sequel trilogy as Grogu is shown wearing the Beskar armor gifted to him by Din Djarin. Din Djarin. I just want to say Djarin. So Disney successfully took a very popular character in Mandalorian armor, a character, quite frankly, that lived in the imaginations of boys and girls for decades and grown-ups, wasn't really fleshed out on screen, and replaced him. Why? Disney wants their own characters free of anybody else's creative touch, so they probably don't have to pay out residuals. So remember way back when I did a video based on George Lucas getting residuals. I don't know if that was right. I don't know if it was George Lucas getting residuals or other people who have added on to the lore of Boba Fett getting residuals. I think that's closer to the truth. But that's generally why companies do this. Plus, they want to control their own characters. So Disney bought Star Wars to replace the popular characters, thinking it was just the brand. And quite frankly, with some people, it is. But and you know what? It's enough people to where they can just have this revenue stream now. It's not going to be what they envisioned it to be, which was a series of blockbuster films bringing in billions and billions of dollars. That's not the case anymore. Now, I think what we're experiencing with Disney Star Wars will be Disney Star Wars. I don't know what they could do cinematically moving the brand forward, because it's just the brand now, which is something they failed to do in 10 years. They need to move it forward. Sure, they could come out with a Darth Vader movie where he's hunting Jedi, but we know how that movie ends too. They need to do something new and move it forward, and it needs to be successful. That remains to be seen. That's why I say, of course it's not dead. It's dead to me. It's dead to me, and it's just going to get more and more irrelevant. Baby Yoda is cute. Baby Yoda's a cash machine for them right now, and it'll wear thin. All cute things wear thin. Just look at pop culture throughout its history. In Chapter 6, Grogu was given an ultimatum by Luke Skywalker, which I thought was dickish, by the way, that he had to choose between being a Jedi and his friendship with Din Djarin. So, I think that's out of character for Luke, but it's Disney Star Wars. I think it's very much in character for Jake Skywalker. Given Grogu is seen wearing the armor, it appears he chose his friendship with Din Djarin over the Jedi. And yes, those are all the other students that Kylo kills. Lucasfilm and The Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau have made it very clear that The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett lead to the sequel trilogy in the past. Back in 2019, before an episode of The Mandalorian even aired, Favreau hinted the series would explore the early days of the First Order. He told Entertainment Weekly also what could happen in the 30 years between celebrating the defeat of the Empire and then the First Order. You come on to episode 7. The First Order are not just starting out. They're pretty far along. So somehow things weren't necessarily managed as well as they could have been if the galaxy ended up in the hot water again like that, he added. Yeah, meaning Han, Luke, and Leia were utter failures. That's your Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, it's depressing. It is. I'm glad I don't care anymore. In an Instagram post, Favreau also revealed an opening crawl for The Mandalorian. It reads, after the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. We follow the travels of a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. You mean Tatooine? You mean we're back at Tatooine? A little over a year ago, speaking with the Writers Guild of America, Favreau explained he takes the sequel trilogy into consideration while writing The Mandalorian. Favreau's words are now being reflected in his work as Luke Skywalker is shown full of pride, much like his depiction in The Last Jedi, as he demands Grogu make a choice between the Jedi and Din Djarin. Yeah, I mean, again, I saw people cheering this on. I also saw people cheering on, like, they didn't come out and say this, but they insinuated that Ahsoka was there mentoring Luke, giving him a little advice, you know. Ahsoka is supposed to be dead. I basically, she had to be there to say all the things that they couldn't afford to have Luke say. That's why she was in it, because I'm sure that deepfake technology cost a bundle. The evidence is clear. The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett lead to the sequel trilogy. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Could things always change? Of course they could. Of course they could. But if they do change, it's going to be 10 years, a decade, and in the meantime, they have you watching. Now, if you want to watch, fine. I have no problem with that. And I'm probably going to dip in on Kenobi just for that one battle, just like I dipped in with this. As far as doing reviews, I'm going to do reviews of other things. I'm just going to do reviews of other things. I think Star Wars it's worse than with The Last Jedi with me. It's apathy. I think it's just lame. I'd be embarrassed to wear a Star Wars shirt. I'd be embarrassed. I used to wear Star Wars shirts when it wasn't cool. And I think it's as uncool as the jocks in the late 70s and the early 80s thought it was. And that's the corporatism of Hollywood, which has been creeping in for a long, long time. And that's what's brought us all the woke nonsense, the critical theory, the intersectional feminism. I know those are considered buzzwords. I don't care. They're applicable. And again, when I was getting into this early on, I thought that shit was crazy. I'm like, you're crazy. You're crazy. And it sounded crazy. But, you know, it's 2022 and we've seen a lot of crazy shit. And when, you know, Alex Jones, who, like everybody else, isn't right about everything. He's gotten some stuff pretty horribly wrong. But when he's right on a lot of his stuff, Alex Jones, that's it's not a good thing. And he even says that. Disney has officially screwed the franchise. Folks are going to realize it all leads to the rejected sequels. Maybe we can use the time we've gained and start some new hobbies while we laugh at Disney. Yeah. I mean, for my leisure entertainment, I read old comic books and I watch older TV, and I'll dip in. Like I said, Reacher's pretty good. I could recommend it if you already have Amazon Prime. I know some people don't like Amazon Prime, and that's a good reason. But I thought Reacher was good. It's got a couple of things here and there because I think everything does now because of what I'm about to show you in a little bit. Just little pieces. I've shown this a lot in the past, but I think it needs to be reset. Laughing at Disney will be I mean, it's good medicine, and their storytelling is so effing bad. Again, I think people bringing up the Luke Ahsoka meeting for the first time and not putting that on screen, that's as dumb as killing the Kraken off screen in Pirates of the Caribbean. And that shows that like they're just story is not a concern. I know a lot of people have a lot of respect for Favreau. I don't hate the guy, but I mean, he was there during the whole firing of Gina Carano. He was there. Bob Chapek was there. All these people were there. They didn't do anything. Whoopi Goldberg at the same company got a slap on the wrist. Pedro Pascal, Pablo Hidalgo and Pedro Pascal still work there and didn't get as much as disciplined for what they did. Pablo Hidalgo went after the biggest Star Wars YouTuber who's about to eclipse the actual Star Wars channel. And Pedro vilified 73 million Americans. Disney didn't have a single problem with that. Crom's Devil 999 says, I didn't want to believe it, but you were right, Gary. All roads lead to Jake Skywalker. Love the channel. Bro, keep up the good work. Thank you very much. It was just pure speculation, and I'm not the only one who thought that. To be fair. And I didn't want to be right about it either, and it brings me no joy. I'm not trying to rub anything in anybody's face. It's a risky thing. Putting yourself out there for the YouTubes. It's a risky thing. Especially those of us who show our face and are dumb enough to put our first and last names out there because we never thought our channel would go anywhere. But I mean, honestly, haven't had a problem with that. I'm a very cautious man. Yeah, it ultimately, I think it's best for me anyway. And I know my co-hosts on Friday Night Tights believe this. It's best to just wait and react to like what we've seen. We could certainly speculate and just go, in my opinion, I speculate this might happen. And, hey, I thought the movie theaters would be way worse off than they are, right? I honestly don't know how they're hanging on. I don't know. But the movie theater near me, which is like empty even for like big movies, is still hanging on. Now, is it government? I imagine it's a lot of government help. And we're going to talk about California in a little bit because it's a ghost town and I don't know how it's hanging. Nothing makes sense. Well, to the naked eye, nothing makes sense. But if you think about it critically for a moment, it will make sense, and there's going to be consequences for how this stuff is still hanging on, because by all rights, it should not be. Hollywood got a lot of help from you and me, by the way. The American taxpayer, we bailed their ass out. That's part of it. And I am so against that because I think they're gambling with our money. That's something that's going to be a failure anyway. Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be an anomaly. The Batman movie is tracking pretty good. And I hope it's good. I hope it's great. When's it coming out, by the way? In about a month. I hope it's good. I hope it's not raging. What's the bullshit? I know Robert Pattinson like bullshits in his interviews, but a Batman based on like Nirvana songs, like Kurt Cobain, a guy who committed suicide at the age of 27 because of his drug abuse. Supposedly, not sure. There's some question about that. Chris McDonald for $5. Probably don't agree on politics, but boy, do I respect your views on movies and media. Love what you do, man. Keep it up. Thank you. My politics are all over the place. So you might agree on some stuff and not agree on others. But what I can promise, Texas, is I'm not going to come over there and vote like a Californian. I promise. I hear you are leaving California. Are you? You're welcome to come to Wyoming. We would love to have you. Wausau for $10. I am leaving California. I am moving to Texas. Wyoming is a lovely place, though. I've driven through it many, many times to go to South Dakota, where my dad grew up, and I visited South Dakota a lot. Roscoe, South Dakota, as a matter of fact. 50 miles, west of Aberdeen. Probably towns you've never heard of. Near Ipswich, another town you've never heard of. A lot of Germans up there. Hey, Gary, best Wonder Woman comics run. Hells for $179. John Byrne did a good one, and George Perez did the art. I'm blanking on who wrote it. Was it Wolfman? I can't remember who wrote it now. Both are good. All right. I think, the sequel trilogy is here to stay. I don't know what the debate is going to be out there. There's probably some bummed people. I can always just, it could change. Like I said before, it's going to be a decade. What they're going to do is they're going to muck around in this little 10, 15-year period, 20-year period. I'm not really sure. They're not going to move anything forward because they're scared to death right now because they did fail. Each one of those movies making a significant amount less than the previous movie is a failure. Solo lost money. They've changed their plans 1,000 times. Where's the Lando show? Yeah, they announced the Lando show. Where's the Rangers of the New Republic? Well, I think we know what's going on with that. Where's the Acolyte? Now, COVID could have delayed some of the stuff, and we might see it next year. That's a possibility. But Marvel and, Disney just has a propensity to announce shit and then disappear it. But I'm very sorry to report that the sequel trilogy remains intact. All right, so we're going to go check out this this trailer. I can't play it. It's cringe, though. We're going to read some comments. And we are going to talk a little. I watched some Babylon 5 over the last week or so. I started it over again. Because I got to, I think, season 4, and I stopped. So I just started over again. And I guess the reboot got squashed, and I watched Mark Zickery's review, or he did a quick video. Mark Zickery, the sci-fi writer, he wrote Twilight Zone Companion, and he's written a bunch for Hollywood. Kind of tells you what's up with making a show nowadays. And I agree with Az's assessment. I think this is a good thing. I got you, Mikey Gussler. I'll be right there. Well, here we'll answer some questions about Star Wars, and then we'll get to the wokest thing that you might ever see. Just and maybe it's peak woke. It's always gonna be darkest before the dawn. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. But let's answer your Star Wars questions. WG for $20 says, Gary, in your intros, you often say you come from your mom's vagina, not to nitpick, but technically you first came from your dad's nuts. So it's nuts, then vag, then ta-da. Yeah, I mean, the only part that I might have remembered was, coming out the coming out the vagina. Plus, it's got more impact. I'm thinking more of the verbal impact, WG. But yes, technically I came from my dad's nuts as well. Code, thank you for the $20. Nitpicker. Cody S for $1 says, watched the Batman pre-release funeral scene, seemed pretty flat. Didn't grab me at all. The Pattinson comes off sulky. Yeah, I saw the scene. It wasn't bad. But remember when you saw that Joker scene? Remember when we saw when you went to I forgot what movie I went to, and you got to see the opening scene to Dark Knight? And it just, any questions you had about that movie were gone after you watched that scene. You're like, oh, shit, I can't wait to see this. I didn't get that. I just thought it was like, okay. And did you notice the similarities with the Dark Knight scene? I mean, yeah, one's a funeral, one's a bank robbery. Both guys are going to get blown up. Little similarities there. That is a red flag because we are dealing with maybe one of the more talented people from Bad Robot, but still from Bad Robot, all the same. Johnny Matrix for $10. Welcome to Texas, Gary. I'm not there yet, but I will be there in 5 days. 5 days. 6 days counting today. Welcome to Texas, Gary. I'm outside Houston. When you get here, please leave California politics there, and don't come and vote for Beto for governor, please and thank you. Big fan, by the way. I will not be voting for that dipshit Beto or Beta O'Rourke. Don't worry. Any guy who just comes out and says, I want to take all your guns, which is what he said, I can't imagine that's going to help him in any election, because if the opponent is just going to vote, just roll that again and again. And thankfully, you don't have any of the, better make sure you have a damn good ground game, though. That's all I got to say. Man of War 665, the neighbor of the beast. Yeah, I'm good, but thanks anyway. I know you're good, buddy. Lyra for $5 says, feeling a little deflated and a bit weepy after the Book of Boba Fett finale. Silly me for holding out any hope. Your voice is very calming, Gary. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not here to rub anything in anybody's face. I think it would have been like people would have been rubbing it in my face. Like say they like straight up erase it in this episode, like Ahsoka, just like gets a giant lightsaber eraser and erases the reality. People would be going, in your face, Nerdrotic, in your face. And I'd be going, we're getting good Star Wars. Yeah, great. I'm wrong, but we're getting good Star Wars. So that's good. Or no, well, we're getting different Star Wars. I wouldn't want to go so far as to say good Star Wars. Can't guarantee that. Let's remember, again, I respect Jon Favreau as a director. He's directed a lot of movies I like. A lot. And he's directed some very average to forgettable films. And quite frankly, I just think he's a company guy. I think he's a better company guy than Dave Filoni, who I think is a company lickspittle, and Pablo Hidalgo, who I think is the source of a lot of the bad that comes out of Lucasfilm. And they just don't realize that. That guy's whole attitude permeates through Lucasfilm. And if they ejected that guy, it would be a better place to work. WG for $20 says, just saw the season finale of the finale of Book of Slow-Mo Fett. And it was as if Geek Grind made a new flavor of coffee called Black Pill. And I drank the whole freaking pot. But hey, it could be worse. It could be raining. This is true, WG. Yeah. The episode was terrible. It was terrible. Even the action wasn't very good. If you're a fan of Cad Bane, you're going to be pissed. If you're a fan of Boba Fett, you're going to be pissed. But all the girls get to go, oh, baby Bo, baby Yoda, Boo, Grogu, as Star Wars dies. And Luke is an absolute dick. Jake Skywalker. Luke's back. Hey, Grogu. Hey, look at the frogs. Don't eat the frog, little Grogu. Okay. You're going to stay or go, asshole. Saber or your cute little dumb gift from your friend who's not even legally your father. And I'm starting to get some creepy vibes from him. So if you want to go with the creepy guy who really likes you, or you want to stay with me and train to be this badass wizard, make the choice now. You little shit. I know you can't even talk. Get the fuck out of my hut, you little ungrateful wannabe Yoda. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, fucker. There, that's my representation of what really happened off screen after Grogu made the choice. Ungrateful little whelp. Put food on your table, train you to float frogs. Then your boyfriend comes back in his nice silver Beskar armor, gives you a little Beskar gift, and you're gone. Robert Lewis for $5. Having a bad day, feeling super depressed and lonely. My wife made me a card, and I just feel like it's too little too late. There's no point to this. I'll just pay you like a prostitute, and I may be... and this may make me feel better. Sorry to objectify you. Robert, you can I'm hoping you have a much better day. I really do. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Talk to somebody. But you can objectify me all you want. That's fine. I am here. Obviously, I'm here to be easy on the eyes. I try to make it less difficult on the eyes as possible. I might have to start doing some of the Morgan Fairchild blurring. Does anybody know who Morgan Fairchild is? Anyone? Gary's attention span for $3. Okay, next donation. No, I'm just kidding. Many people waiting for you to start your stream, 980, and then what? Then that we're waiting for G4. Good luck with your move, and please catch up on reading Super Chats, Boomer. It's Human Kirk, by the way. Oh, yeah, baby. I'm behind on everything. I don't think it's a Boomer thing. And that was Robert Lewis. Okay, so, all right. And you can continue to ask about Star Wars. Honestly, it's just a commiserating thing. If you're bummed out, that's okay. I saw... Again, this is part of fandom, so I'm not going to sit here and judge people from the EU who have been pissed since, I think, 2014 when they did that. I remember reading that story in the early days of this podcast and just thinking, what are they doing? Now, I was never the biggest fan of the EU. Like I said, I read the Zahn books and a lot of the comics from Dark Horse, but I never thought they would, at the time, it was pretty clear what they wanted to do then. Like, we're going to do our own thing. And I think it was pretty clear to everybody that they were just going to cherry pick stuff It's because Disney has no plan. And Kathleen Kennedy, people just assume she would be good at this job, including yours truly. She's not. She's just not. All right, we're going to go to a terrible movie trailer. I don't know if some of you have seen it. I can't show it because I don't want to get, well, maybe I can, because I'm going to unlist this anyway. I'm going to unlist this shit anyway. I just hope they don't, like, shut it down there. What the hell? Oh, yeah, those are old links. I'm like, God dang, those are the links. I had my links separated by year, and I think I was looking at 2018. I was like, what the fuck was that? That was like Rise of Skywalker shit. Here we go. My God, do I have thousands of bookmarks. See, I bookmark my thing in a bookmark file instead of having 75 tabs open like Ryan. Maybe someday he'll learn. Okay, Lucasfilm, there it is. Everything's going to be all white, ladies and gentlemen. Everything's going to be all white. Isn't that a fun little pun there? Let's get the speakers going through there. Okay. All right. So, yes, I put the dislike extension in. By the way, you can do that. Just simply Google Chrome dislike extension and pop it in. And you will see that this is one of the most ratioed trailers, maybe of all time. I think it might be of all time. It has 1.4 thousand likes, 1,400 likes to 40,000 dislikes. 40,000. Oh, wait. Boop. I've watched it already. A deep dive into America's past and present through the experiences of people of color. The docuseries marries humor with history as it confronts the facets of racism, exploitation, and discrimination that contributed to the formation of America. Watch the premiere on Friday. This is critical theory. This is Marxism. Showtime. A company built on capitalism. By the way, 2 million views since February 1st. Oh, there's no closed captions on it. And let's get there. Warning, this trailer may trigger white people. Okay. Now, a lot of people have done, don't play the trailer. Yeah, you know what? Nah. Let's read the comments instead. Because you know what? It's all going to be the same shit. Yes, America was founded on blood. Absolutely. Exploitation, manifest destiny, just like every other country. Every other country was formed, and its foundations were built on dead babies, dead moms, dead dads, bloodshed, horrible, horrible things. It's what we're doing now. It's what we're doing now. So the logic behind this is, we have confronted a lot. Of course, our history was saturated back in the day. Not so much now. It hasn't been saturated for a long, long time. I learned about some crazy shit in high school when I went. So that's bullshit. And This is all about like, hey, we need to tear it down because this was because of the way it was built. We just need to tear it down. There is a plan behind this, folks. There's an absolute plan behind this. And there has been for a long time. But let's go to the comments. Let's just go straight to the comments. We know this will be cringe, and you can watch it in your own time. Wait. Show more. Hang on. I need to find the comments. Give me just a minute. Just a minute. There we go. I got to fix that. Hang on. One moment, if you're listening. Yeah, by the way, there's something going on with my website. So I'm not able to upload any audio right now. I can't. I've tried for like 2 weeks. So I've got to think of something quick to keep the podcast going. I'm not really sure what that's going to be right now, but we're working on it. So I was supposed to upload everything and have it up by Sunday. I couldn't. I tried everything. So just keep an eye on nerdrotic.com. Our podcast will be back up on Spotify soon. I did not leave Spotify for Joe Rogan because of Joe Rogan. I'm staying because of Joe Rogan. By the way, his last podcast with Randall Carlson, fucking thumbs up. Good stuff. If I'm responsible for what my ancestors did, then I'm also able to take credit for the wonders that they created. Thank you, Showtime. I have never been more proud to be a white man. 10,000 likes. Oh, let's see what some of the responses are. I'm curious. You, sir, have just blown my mind. I never thought of it like that. Well done. What wonders? Some Exyan church built by slaves. Take taxes from poor. Go, laugh my ass off, Cope. At Bun. It says Cope. Do you like chocolate? That was invented by a Swedish white man. Correction, milk chocolate was invented by a Swiss man, not a Swedish man. Apologies. At Bun. Plumbing, electricity, vehicles, etc. Do I need to say more? African culture had jazz. You mean sitting in a mud hut and, oh boy, yeah, I can't read that. I think they're talking more about how great, every great inventor was pretty much white. If I'm responsible for my ancestors, then bleeps are responsible for every major city in the world being a steaming pile of shit. We created everything. Stand proud, white man. I mean, this is all creating fucking division. That's all it is. I don't know what purpose this serves. Well, I do. This is a product of the summer of 2020 when Hollywood was scared to death. So when you create things like this, and, you know, it's a documentary. Like, there's documentaries like this that come out every couple of years. Like, this is nothing new, by the way. But it being so, I mean, usually those documentaries are independent and they're not sponsored by a major network. So usually this shit shows up on HBO, quite frankly. It's kind of unusual that it shows up on Showtime. But it's nothing new. It's nothing new. But in these times, it is just a tool for division. This is Hollywood's fault. Hollywood has played a major part in the divisiveness in this country. Hollywood, mainstream media, big tech, by, well, a great many things. It's all been a lot of little paper cuts. I don't know if it's death by 1,000 paper cuts yet. I don't want to go that far, but a lot of little paper cuts. You have damn near every show now has something that is pretty much anti-white guy. Damn near every show. A little thing here, a little thing there, or they have an entire documentary that they try to turn into a comedy for some reason. They try to make it funny. But all it does is rile people up, because what you're coming out and saying to the regular people who really haven't done, the vast majority of people who haven't done a damn thing to anybody, they have just gone to work, raised a family, and now all of a sudden they're the bad guy. This is taking aim at the middle class, and it's not just the white middle class. So why are the uber rich taking a shot at the middle class? That's the question. Why are they taking a shot at the thing that built them? Well, I have a working theory on this. The middle class is controllable to a certain extent. It's much easier to control people when you can control their flow of income, where they live. You know, private property is a bit of a problem to the whole Marxist thing. So is it, and again, this is just a working theory, is it, you know, these companies climb the ladder, a lot of people have climbed the ladder, and they're now kicking the ladder out from behind them? Maybe. It's also just business being closely associated with not just government, a certain party. Now, there's definitely Republicans in on this too, that are Republican in name only. A rhino. So we get garbage like this. It's meant to divide. They don't realize what this actually does, like how much damage this actually causes. And then they project on us. They go after a guy like Joe Rogan. A Democratic super PAC funds another, what's it called again? The Midas Touch. Finding a video that was pre-made, putting it out there, a video that I knew about, everybody knew about, it was just the timing, to go after Joe Rogan, the Bernie supporter who smokes pot. So we have this, and we also have this. Hang on. I have to pre-read some of these because these are some salty ass comments. Like this one. I love how she says, white people love to pretend being victims while she is black and literally doing just that, complaining that she's a victim. And if that's virtuous or desirable trait in a person, that it's a virtuous or a desirable trait in a person. It makes me happy to see that people of all races can get together under a single construct. Hating on people trying to antagonize a single race. Good job, Showtime. By being racist, you showed us racism will not be tolerated. Rush Stink. That is a good one. Let me get to the other thing I wanted to show you. Boop, ba-doop, boop, boom. Bookmarks. There we go. Shit. There we go. We're not gonna go over everything on this. It's our programs, resources. Is this? Oh, now it's gone. That's weird. Okay. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. This is TTIE, Think Tank for Inclusion and Equity. Hashtag Write Inclusion Fact Sheets. Our goal is to empower writers, showrunners, and creative executives to better reflect the lived experiences of marginalized communities. Now, I absolutely reject the marginalized thing. I think we're all individuals. I think life isn't fair. I think there are certain circumstances that aren't fair that need to be addressed because this country's a long way from being perfect, a long way. But it's further along than a lot of other places with this much diversity. People need to realize that a lot of countries, even the ones that are faux socialist, the free market faux socialist countries in Europe, which are, quite frankly, up until recent times, they were protected by us and relied on us for their defense against that Russia that everybody's so scared of that I wouldn't be that scared of right now. But I digress. This is the new rule book for Hollywood. So remember that article I read a couple of days ago, or about a week ago, the new rules for Hollywood. These new rules have been around for a while, and these are the rules. These are the rules. So this think tank is funded by the Roddenberry Foundation, the Gene Roddenberry Foundation, and multiple other foundations. And it's associated with another foundation that is run by Ava DuVernay called the Pop Culture something or other. I forgot what it was called. But as a working TV writers, we at TTE understand the immense power these fucking, listen to these people. The immense power. Like, listen to this again. As working TV writers, we at TTIE understand the immense power we wield with our narratives. The stories, the characters, and the images we depict are more than entertainment. They inform, shape, and influence audiences' actions and worldviews, how we feel about one another and ourselves. If we are to wield this power, we need to recognize that. To anybody who thinks this shit is not happening, I give you the TTIE Think Tank for Inclusion and Equity. Thanks to Robert Meyer Burnett, who put this up on a live stream. And if we go to disabled people, and let me get it to so you guys can see it. These are the rules. Disabled people. Overrepresented stories and harmful stereotypes. Things we'd like to see more of. Cure at all costs. A character starts with a disability but is later cured through magic, miracles, or medical intervention. This promotes the harmful medical model of disability, ignoring that disability is a valid identity, one which many people wear with pride. Now, I don't know how telling a story of somebody miraculously being cured by a fake or real disease affects somebody's identity as an individual. The overcomer, disabled people overcoming their disability, whether to do extraordinary things or simply to live an extraordinary life. As above, this implies the disabled people should want to rid themselves of their disability, and those who don't or can't are somehow failures. Again, you're putting restrictions on writers. And these seem like very, whatever. It doesn't seem that bad. Mythical little people and dwarves. Paraded only as mythical creatures such as elves, there is an estimated 30,000 Americans with dwarfism. Have the same universal desires of average height people to belong, succeed, feel free, and find love. Nobody's saying they don't if we're depicting a dwarf in a magical tale. And of those 30, and we're talking about 30,000 people in a country of 331 million, not to diminish your value as an individual, but I would want to ask all of them before I would assume that they're all going to be like drunk ass Peter Dinklage in a podcast. What's next? We got to remove all alcohol from every movie ever because it might offend my delicate sensibilities as a recovering alcoholic. I wouldn't want that. I don't want that at all. I want to see authenticity and realism in my art. I don't want it restricted. You know what? You can go make and everything is going to be all white. It can exist. I don't care. I don't want it canceled. I'm glad it's out there. I think more shit like that will bring this woke shit down quicker. Come out with the most cringe shit possible because Hollywood is not an innovator. This is where I completely disagree with Robert Meyer Burnett. Hollywood is where trends go to die. Trends start on ground level, on the streets, man. That's where trends start. Then they get processed, over-processed, homogenized. Then they make it to Hollywood, where that is the end user, and then trend dies. Like I said, it's like a disco movie coming out in 1985. Oh, and it gets it, and like they list it out for disabled people, Latinx people, migrants, Native American, indigenous people, older adults, South Asians, U.S. military veterans, women and girls, Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders, Middle East and North African people, East Asians, criminal justice. What they didn't get into here is the LGBTQ plus. I found that interesting. That might be a completely different thing. But this is just one. And remember, Disney was going to put their employees through critical race theory training. And I imagine every other company has already done this. All right, so I want to read this again. This comment is fantastic. It makes me happy to see people of all races can get together under a single construct, hating on people trying to antagonize a single race. Good job, Showtime. By being racist, you showed us racism will not be tolerated. That is fantastic. I gotta like that one. Woo. Spooky boy. As a white boy, it feels great to have an entire documentary all about my race. Thanks, guys. I love how in order to end racism, we have to become more racist. Good message. Fighting fire with fire. I also like how I can take credit for all the great innovations and inventions my white ancestors created, shedding an entire new light on our Black History Showtime. Thanks. Also, love how they couldn't even capitalize the title. Thankfully, I can learn from racist mistakes. Yeah, fighting racism with racism is not very smart. But what it says, the TTIE, which helps other things, is funded by grants, again, from philanthropic organizations. And when you start digging, you start seeing that these philanthropic organizations, which usually have a name like the John Smith Foundation to Make a Better World, and those are funded by Ford Motor Corporation and GE. And I haven't found the BlackRock yet, but I imagine if I keep digging, I'll find it somewhere. I'll find it somewhere because that one does pop up a lot. Not everywhere, though. Not everywhere. It is interesting. But that company is really, now it's an investment firm, so like it'd be normal to invest in a lot of companies, but I don't know, man. I'm just talking about stuff. Just spitballing here. I don't fucking know. But this is what they're trying to shut down. So like when they come after Joe Rogan, they're coming after all of us, and they can't. See the dinosaur legacy media is staring up at this giant meteor descending on them, and it's the audience. It's the audience who can just entertain and inform each other. That's why you have Brian Stelter out there going, oh my God, they just wing it. They just say stuff without fact checking. And not that CNN fact checks anything. It's propaganda. That's what that Showtime thing is, propaganda. And our entertainment has become propaganda. I read it again. I want to read it again for dramatic effect. Writers, the TTIE, Think Tank for Inclusion and Equity. Think about that word. That's a freaking commie word, just like community. Writers, producers, executives, storytellers. As working TV writers, we at TTIE understand the immense power we wield with our narratives, the stories, the characters, and images we depict as more than entertainment. They inform, shape, and influence audiences, actions, and worldviews. I repeat, influences audiences, actions, and worldviews, how we feel about one another and ourselves. If we are to wield this power, we need to recognize that. And they do it in the shadows. They try to tell us that this doesn't exist, that we're crazy. It's right here in black and white. I apologize if you've been around the channel for a long time. I've gone over this a lot. So, but I think it's high time it gets reset in a video, don't you think? I think so. By the way, California video, wait a second. Let's see what, I didn't even check to see if it was done today. I got to show you the progress on my studio too. I'm trying to get to my messages. How do I not have any messages? There it is. Nope, not yet. Hey, what are those Conan boxes behind me? Oh, Tom. I'll show you. Yeah, I don't know if my video's done yet. Where was I? Where am I? Oh, you mean these Conan boxes right here? Those are Conan short boxes that Dark Horse sold, and they are filled with Conan books, the complete set, the complete Marvel set of Conan. Every single issue. Most of them in mint condition. And then over there, I've got all the Savage Sword of Conan, the complete run. But yes, that is a complete run of Conan, Tom, from Midnight's Edge. Where was I? Talking about the filthy commies. Okay. I wish I was making it up. I wish the Disney trilogy wasn't real. I wish all these things. I wish I wasn't like in a culture war right now. I wish I was reviewing good television. I wish I hadn't seen what I saw in the Lord of the Rings trailer. But I saw it, which confirms all of our concerns, by the way. As I said in my Lord of the Rings video. Johnny Matrix for $10. Welcome. Oh, I read this one already. Hang on. Let's go there. Let's refresh that first. We're going to get to you guys now. All right. Just ran TT, by the way, TT that we like to call it, Vasidius for $4.99. Just ran TTIE names through some databases. They're not registered as a nonprofit. How are they accepting donations? Are they a business? Are they a business then? That's a good question. I think what they are is a think tank, which is funded by a foundation. So I don't know if I guess it said they're accepting direct donations. Yeah, I don't know how they do that. I don't know. Maybe somebody can answer that. Somebody who's, you know what? My dad was a brilliant accountant, and the apple fell so far away from the tree. It like went down the hill, down the street, went into the storm drain, went out in the ocean, swam back a little bit, but never got very close to the tree, as far as that's concerned. Read my post, Beardo. When the when is the FNT UK tour? Swerve the Smoke, London. It's a dive. Lot better places, Southwest, the Midlands, and up north. Digs at mine in the Midlands, but only if you bring me Melanie Mac, love dude, no homo. This is Canis Malice for 20 British pounds. Soon, I guess sooner than later, since, well, your country is now further along than mine. We're dropping. It's amazing that the science, TM, all of a sudden figured out that mandates are bad. They're all about to get dropped, folks. They're all about to get dropped. And I'm sure it had nothing to do with the truckers and the polls. The midterm polls, the Democrats are going to get slaughtered. And it's still going to happen. They played it too long. Now, hey, there's a long time till November, and America has the shortest fucking memory of any country. I totally agree with that. But I think, I still think they get slaughtered. Enough people have woken up. And yes, the mask mandates are going to be dropped here in California the day after I leave on the 15th. I just laugh. Because you know what's still here? Passport mandates. You know what can return at any time now? Mask mandates. But it's incredible that a bunch of truckers get together in some places in Canada, and the Democrats see a couple of polls, and all of a sudden the science has changed. It's weird. What a coinky dink. Unpopular movie reviews for $5. I'm guessing they didn't interview Thomas Sowell in the Everything's Gonna Be All White documentary. I'm guessing they didn't either. See, that's the thing that would have made it legit. Show both sides. They're making a Unabomber movie, a.k.a. The Joker Part 2, said Sad Boy Requiem for $2. That's a terrible idea. Joker 2 is a terrible idea. Squid Game Season 2 is a terrible idea. That didn't stop Hollywood. Netflix has Dear White People. That is true. Now Showtime has Everything Will Be All White. Everyone is just trying to outdo other people's critical race theory. Fantastic Mr. Knox, you're absolutely correct. And I do believe I can't remember the title. There's an HBO thing that came out 10 years ago. That was basically the same thing. So this shit pops up once in a while. But it's at the worst time now. It's at the worst time. It's like when the Watchmen show came out. I'm like, this show is just, it's evil in its intent. It's divisive. Plus, it exploits like one of the darkest moments in our history, right? And it exploits it into some like supervillain gag, basically, which takes away from the impact of the actual event. That's why you got to be very careful. I'm not saying don't put them in there, but don't be so exploitive. And when Doomcock and I reviewed that and pointed it out, holy shit, did we get a lot of shit for that. Don't fucking care. Have no problem pointing it out. And someday I will do a deep dive review on that one. But that series is bad. It's as much intersectional feminism as it is critical theory. But it's the kind of thing people are going to look back in 10 years and go, oof. Oof. You know, we'll be healthier as a nation when we can laugh at each other again. Like I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying this, but I could care less. People call me a cracker. I could care less. I've been called much worse in prison. I was called Peckerwood every fucking day. Hang on a second. The chat's there we go. Let's get that chat going again. Sorry, my bad. Woo, look at it go. Strolling through drums for $10. I hear they're messing with Quantum Leap next. Yes, now the main character will probably be Samantha Beckett. She don't need no Al. She can figure out how to put things right, which once went wrong without help. I think that's it. I think a girl will just show up and just say, we don't need to do all this. I'll just be awesome. And then there'll be a bunch of guys going, you can't leave us. When you do, you leave us alone without your awesomeness. And you don't understand how awesome you are. We need you. Remember when Poe said that to Ray? You're the best pilot we have. How could you be leaving us? That bitch had no training. She's not a good pilot. Gary, since you've settled on Texas, it just went down to 6.5%, the female audience, by the way. Crom's Devil for $9.99. Gary, since you've settled on Texas, is the pre-2014 retro comic shop still in the cards? Yes. I am just one state up in Tulsa and would love to drop some cash when you open up. It is in the cards. It is absolutely in the cards. That is my retirement plan and plan for my kid. Just in case he needs a plan. I don't want to plan out his life for him, but just in case he needs a backup, that's what it's going to be there. It's going to be there for him. Don't tell him that, though. Don't tell him that. I don't want him to think it's for him. At this point, I am done with Star Wars. I am done with Star Wars fans cheering for a hope of a retcon and every stupid reference ignoring horrible story. Yeah, I mean, let's admit it. Star Wars in the 11th hour saved their ass. So I made a video back in the day, a year and a half ago, going, is Star Wars saved? And what I meant was Star Wars was saved for Disney, not for the fans. It was saved for Disney. Absolutely saved. In the 11th hour when all looked, it looked dark. Mandalorian comes along, little baby Yoda, which is a lot like baby Groot. Remember baby Groot? Yeah. Well, and it was saved. It was. At that moment, Kathleen Kennedy's job was saved, I believe, and Jon Favreau came in. They're going to Marvel it up. I mean, hell, the Mandalorians are like Iron Man. And they're still going to do that. And it might work. And they just do their own thing. I am so not interested in that world anymore. But there are plenty of people who are. So Star Wars was saved for Disney. Star Wars was saved for Disney Star Wars, but not for George Lucas Star Wars fans. People want to enjoy it. That's fine. I don't think it's very good. I just don't. 200 Watt Studio for $20. What's up, 200 Watt Studio? Thank you. Gary, after season 2 of Mando, we had 30 years of ambiguity to imagine tales of good Luke before he becomes Jake. with Boba Fett, episode 6. Jake is building the Last Jedi temple. Ambiguity taken away from us. He's Jake for 30 years. Absolutely correct, sir. Absolutely correct on that one. Word. Magic Kel for $8.99. Good luck with the move. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, 200 Watt Studio. Been around for a long time, the 200 Watt Studio. Long time. Hail. Yeah, that ambiguity was key because I think it was dumb. If you want to ask me, I think it was dumb. I think they should have kept the ambiguity there. That way, people could still do their rumors and speculate, and Disney just fucking wins. They just straight up win because people are talking about Star Wars all the time. Now, I mean, there's people are going to still go ahead and do it, but some aren't. Some are just like, every time they do something like this, there's more and more people that are just out. And nothing changes until it crashes and burns. It's a long way from crashing and burning. It still makes enough money. And like I said, it's a revenue stream and it's a pretty good one for them and they need it. They really fucking need it right now. But there is turmoil behind the scenes at Disney. Like without a doubt, there's turmoil. The Book of Boba Fett not playing well to the hardcore fans, like even Star Wars Theory. He's going to probably turn around and say, well, some parts were good, but I was watching him live for a minute last night. And he said it felt flat. Cause it was flat. It's really bad storytelling. That Vespa crew is cringe. There was a bunch of people walking in from the desert. So much stuff didn't make sense. There's no connective tissue between scenes. You know what it reeks of? Jar Jar Abrams and Bad Reboot. And I know they don't have fucking anything to do with this, but maybe the imprint of Bad Reboot has been left on Lucasfilm. There are a lot of Bad Reboot people there. So I think that imprint is there. And that imprint is, it's all about getting people's attention. It doesn't matter how we get attention. It doesn't need to have connective tissue as long as somebody's chirping about it on Twitter. All style, no substance. Andre CR for 2,500 Martian pesos. Batman is going to flop, calling it right now. Feels like Batman is the last white dude that needs to be replaced. I don't know if it's going to be flop. I don't know. I think the hype is pretty high, so it'll have a good first weekend. And yeah, I don't know beyond that. I'm working on a video right now. And I'm kind of going back and forth on the Snyderverse because a lot of people didn't like it. But if you go look at the numbers, if you just objectively look at the numbers, it did pretty good. It didn't do good as Marvel. But actually, a couple movies outperformed some Marvel movies. Like Ant-Man, but it didn't like financially do that bad. I think it was the getting critically panned that got to Warner Brothers. And their knee-jerk reaction screwed everything up. Now, I'm not going to say everything was going to be good, but I still believe that if the Snyder Cut, if his vision was released in the theaters, it would have, obviously done better than the Whedon Cut. But I was going back and forth on whether that was a murdered franchise. That's kind of a hint of what my video is. I'm like, is this a murdered and I think technically, yes, it's a murdered franchise. It's a murdered franchise. I believe Star Wars is a murdered franchise, even though it's still out there. It's making money. It's treading water. It's making its comics and it's got its true believers out there, but it doesn't have the normies outside of Baby Yoda. People could give a shit. The Cassian Andor gets a season 2 before season 1. That is a marketing ploy. Juan Solo. And apparently Kenobi isn't coming out in May. So I'm not sure. And I don't care. Mikey Gussler for $10 says, John Campea reported that the Cassian Andor show, here we go, got greenlit for a season 2 ploy, total ploy. One of the producers of Obi-Wan deleted his tweet about the show releasing in May. How will they ruin the prequels? By having a rematch between Obi-Wan. Well, that ruins the OT. How are they going to ruin the prequels? That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen, Mikey. I would argue that they weren't great to begin with, but they'll find a way to ruin it. I think Anakin and Obi-Wan meeting again, I think it takes away from their final battle. So I think that hurts the prequels off the top of my head. Jeff the Handyman for $5 says, just wanted to drop this and say, hail Gary and hail to you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jeff the Handyman. Vasidius, I got a theory I want to run by you. Do you think Iger getting booted from Disney had anything to do with Epstein? That news was breaking around the same time. His island was less than a half a mile from Disney cruises for 20 years. There was a lot of rumors, a lot of smoke, little bit of smoke around that one. Maybe. Is Iger still running for office? That's the question. I don't think he is, and he really wanted to. Iger quit. I don't know if he got booted. And he stayed on longer than he wanted to, but he's definitely, I don't think he's running for office. And I think that's a sign. He'd be that guy is a fucking idiot. He's the weatherman. He's a former weatherman. He'd be the worst fucking president. You guys are beautiful people. Thank you very much. Scottish Celts for $10 says, thanks, Gary. Really appreciate it. Gonna grab a win, dude. It's on route. Excellent. Appreciate you. Zenzi Biscuit for $3. Holt Coiler was born as a Collier. I know I can pronounce this last name. Collier was born as a slave in Texas during the Civil War. He was with the 9th Texas Cavalry. He was also the man who found the bear that Teddy Roosevelt refused to shoot. Holt is on the back of my Dixie Outfitters hoodie, and I honor him. Hail, Zenzi Biscuit. We honor him too. Agent Zero for $5 says, oh, by the way, I got my first bag of Geek Grind coffee yesterday, made a pot, and wow, damn good and rich. Didn't get the mug because I have dozens. But if I could make a suggestion, I would use a nice travel mug or thermos. Yeah, we're working on those. We're definitely working on those. Good call, Agent Zero. Thank you. That's some Geek Grind coffee right there. There we go, baby. Geek Grind Coffee available. Link is in the description. Geek Grind Coffee, all hail Nerdrotic blend. It's a special blend. It's fucking strong. Geek Grind Coffee actually watches us. That's why I chose them as my very first sponsor. They grow their own coffee. They have a home base in Chicago, but again, they watch us all the time. And they no threats of getting canceled. So check it out if you can afford it. Cad Bane's Very Sandy Boots for $5 says, you've got to be a real baby-brained moron of a writer to create a story that hinges on a character with a literal baby brain making career decisions. Well said. So, yeah, how fucked up is that? He can't even talk. So you're telling a 2-year-old, pick the rattle or the sword. Pick the rattle or the sword, you little shit. Oh, don't goo goo gaga me. You're 2. Agent Zero for $10. I'm with Gary. After the Gina Carano thing, I'm done with Disney. Until Disney takes its filthy paws off the franchise, it's all bad fan fiction to me. Totally agree. Absolutely agree. Johnny Matrix, thank you, Agent Zero. Johnny Matrix for $10 says, welcome to tech. I read that one. So, Cody S says, oh, I read that one too. So let's get down here. Boop, 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 boop. All right. How long have we been going? Good. Excellent. Excellent timing here. Yeah, this was like last minute one, by the way. And it's going to be like that until I get to, I think I can show you some pictures of the studio. Would you like to see that? Would you like to see that? Let's look at some pictures of the studio. So the Nooners are going to be, like I said, wonky until I get there. Next week, I'm traveling all week, so I'll probably do a lot of stuff on Nerdrotic Live, a lot of from the road stuff. So keep an eye for that. Of course, this live stream will be on Nerdrotic Live later today. I apologize. The stuff isn't on Spotify yet. We'll get something figured out within the week to get it back on iTunes and Spotify for those of you who do listen, because I know a bunch of you do. All right, so here we go. Now, why is that way over there? So that's my tweet from last night. But we got this. We need some sound on that one too.
It's done.
He got a little loopy with all the liquid nail. This is true. So if we go here, this is the new studio. It probably doesn't look like much to you guys, but there you go. And he showed the whole thing. That's how it started. So it's awfully blue. There's not much to it, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Oh, I can't believe this trailer, man. The comments are something else, though. All right, so Babylon 5. Poor Babylon 5. I don't think it's going to happen, folks. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's dumb to push it to I like, if you have Straczynski wanting to come back to something, you'd think you would want to green light it, but they didn't. And I think ultimately this is a very good thing. CW pushes Babylon 5 reboot to 2023. The CW pushed the much anticipated reboot to the fall of 2023 amid the upcoming sale of the network. Last year, CW announced that they ordered a pilot. Why would you? Well, I guess maybe. Yeah. A pilot to reboot the epic sci-fi series Babylon 5 from series creator J. Michael Straczynski. In the recent news of the CW's fall 2022 pilots being announced, the Babylon 5 reboot was curiously absent, causing fans to wonder if the show was dead before arrival. Now, thanks to the post to his Patreon followers that he has made public for all to read, Straczynski has made it clear that the show is being held for a 2023 pilot. In the salient quote from the post Straczynski says, however, shortly before that piece, the list of CW shows getting a fall 2020 pilot was published. I received a call from Mark Pedowitz, president of CW. I should mention that Mark is a great guy and a longtime fan, blah, 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 blah. Calling the pilot a damned fine script. He hated it. He fucking hated it. He said he was taking the highly unusual step. Oh, stop with your fucking ad bullshit. Where was I? Taking a highly unusual step of rolling the project and the pilot script into the next year, keeping B5 in active development while the dust settles on the sale of the CW. They don't know if do they know if they're going to sell? I thought one of the parameters of the sale was the CW still gets to make the shit. Why would you do that? Babylon 5 fans can be happy in the knowledge that the rebooted show is still in production for the fall of 2023, target instead of 2022. So Mark Zickery came out and blasted this decision, came out 5 hours ago. And I thought it was hilarious. He's making his own show called Space Command. I think that's the best way to go. I think just do your own fucking thing. And he's actually doing it. Like, he's producing an entire series of television. It's crowdfunded. He's calling his own shots. And if nobody picks it up, he can release it on a DVD or something like that. I think that's kind of the way to go. It's really fucking expensive. And Mark is constantly crowdfunding money, trying to beg for money. And like, that's part of the process instead of, but I think it's easier to maybe go to fans than go to producers who have a bunch of ulterior motives, right? Instead of fans just like, hey, we want to see some good shit. We could be a part of it. We could be named. We could be in the credits or something like that. And that's fun. Yeah, I think that's great. I like Babylon 5. I just recently watched it. I'd never watched it before. And the reason I didn't watch it before is I didn't watch a bunch of TV back in the late 90s or whatever. I was busy working 2 jobs, and I mostly just read comic books and went to movies every Friday night. So it had to be a great series. I know a bunch of people always recommended it, and I should have watched it before because it's really fucking good. It's really, really good. And it would be a disaster if it came out now. It'd be a total fucking disaster. Even if Straczynski wrote Sense8, which is about as woke as it gets. Fuck MovieWeb, by the way. Hacks. Absolute hacks. Channel Surf for $10 says, hey, Gary, sent you an email with my cell number. Text me with the time you want me to meet in Burbank tomorrow. Thanks. I will let you know. I might have to change that last minute to Thursday. To Sunday. Depends on how much I get done today. My schedule got thrown off a bit, and I've got a video that needs to drop before I do anything. And we're waiting to hear from Perry on that one. So I'm kind of on hold right now. So, yeah, I was going to go look at a comic collection on Thursday morning. That's for sale. So I might move it to Sunday. I'll let you know, Channel Surf. Thank you for the $10. And I don't know if you have my number or not. I'll respond with my number. Thanks, buddy. Albert, for £5 British says, Disney won't ever admit to making a mistake with the Star Wars. I like how you call it the Star Wars. I think that's a good title for it. I don't even think they believe they have. That's why all roads lead to Jake. Star Wars is dead. Albert, I'm not going to disagree with you. I feel the same way. I feel like Favreau, I think, recognizes they've made a ton of mistakes, and he just doesn't tell them. He tells them in a way like, I would have done this differently, but it's fine. And you see people going out on Twitter and reveling in the destruction of Luke Skywalker. And then they tell us how they've been a Star Wars fan all their life. And I'm like, wow, I really reveled in the destruction of Spider-Man, even though I've loved him all my life. I love to see his character desecrated and depowered. Be great. Be awesome. I want to see my expectations subverted. You know what? Subvert my expectations in something that isn't serialized. That's something that isn't a franchise where movie posters were sold on the likeness. Like, hey, let's take our golden goose and kill it. Nobody would expect that. Ha ha ha. 86 saying God, you tweeted something on Twitter. I'll check it out. Hang on. I'll see if I can find it. Do you have the same handle? Ah. According to Discussing Film, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Let me get this up here. Lady Greymaster tweeted this at me. According to Discussing Film, ladies and gentlemen, the film and gaming rights for The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are up for sale. Well, I'm sure Amazon is going to buy them. I'm sure this was all part of the plan. I don't know why they'd be up for sale now. That's so weird. That's so weird. That's from Variety. Let's go right there. Holy shit. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit film and gaming rights are up for sale exclusive. Hollywood is about to stampede into Middle-earth an array of movie, merchandising, gaming, and live action rights of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and other titles from the author of J.R.R. Tolkien are coming up for auction now that the Saul Zaentz company has decided to sell its Tolkien holdings. Zaentz company has hired AFC Investment Bank to handle the sale of the process, which is unfolding this week as bankers make the rounds of the logical Hollywood buyers. The Tolkien properties are projected to fetch at least $2 billion based on recent high valuations for top-tier IP and content producers. Representatives of the Zaentz company and AFC declined to comment. The timing of the sale process is not accidental. Amazon is set to premiere its long-awaited mega-budgeted TV series rendition of the enduring Lord of the Rings saga, The Lord of the Rings of Power, on September 2nd, the day Tolkien died. Amazon is at the top of the list of prime candidates to pursue the additional rights now held by Zaentz. This is terrible. This is awful. This is the last franchise. They've been circling this forever. I'm really curious to see who's behind this AFC Investment Bank that's helping the Zaentz company sell it. And if Amazon buys it, I think the fix was in all along. I'm just going to say it right now. That's my opinion. I have seen the trailer. I'm going to prove that I saw the trailer. I will tell you two things from the trailer. There is a person of color who catches an arrow. There is a strong female climbing a cliff with it, like it was climbing a cliff with like daggers or something. You'll find out Sunday. It's very diverse, very short in story. I have a feeling. Here, I'm going to say this right now. I don't give a shit if they give it back to Peter Jackson, which they won't. I don't care if they give it to Christopher Nolan. I don't care if they give it to Steven Spielberg. I don't care who takes on The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. It will be shit. There's a much better chance it'll be shit than good. That's just normal filmmaking. But it will be very modern. It'll be more accessible. Now, Lord of the Rings is coming up on the 20-year rule. Like, it's hot right now. The property has been heating up naturally because that's what things do. People remember 20 years ago is this great film, all-time classic. And right now they're striking while the iron is hot. I don't think it's any coincidence. This comes just, a year after Christopher Tolkien, or 2 years after. Is it 2 years after Christopher Tolkien's death? God, how long has it been now? 2 years now. Almost 2 years. All this stuff started ramping up. Oh my God, my phone is just going nuts. I know. Yeah. I'm probably going to have to make a quick video on this. But all I can say is, oh shit. It is. I said in my last video that they want to remake The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. They didn't want to leave it with this. And I think Amazon took a calculated risk. But here's the deal. Amazon can outspend anybody. So if they give it up, what does that say? What does that say about their series? How fucked up is that going to be that we're going to have a prequel from one company and a sequel with another competing company? So they don't have to obviously connect in any way. I want to read this one. Weird how 20 years ago, or even seven, when The Last Hobbit came out, you could have a movie without black indigenous hobbits and black people could still enjoy it. And this is progress. Craig, we are regressing. We are regressing because we are a more divided nation than we were even 7 years ago. All right. I'm sorry this was all blown out here. Can you still read that? Yeah, you could still read it. No. All right, let's go on. The Zantz Company Holding encompasses rights to exploit Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit properties in film, video games, merchandising, live events, and theme parks. It also includes limited matching rights should the Tolkien estate decide to make movies. Okay, this is an important designation here. Yeah, that's a misleading fucking... Okay, yeah, this is important. I'll reread this. The Zantz Company Holdings encompasses the rights to exploit, and I think that's a good term, exploit, Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit properties in film, video games, merchandising, live events, and theme parks. That would be kind of cool. A Lord of the Rings theme park? Okay, I'm into that. It also includes limited matching rights should the Tolkien estate decide to make movies or other content based on 2 compilations of Tolkien writings that were published after his death in 1973, The Silmarillion and The Unfinished Tales of Numenor and Middle-earth. Warner Brothers also maintains some development rights to The Lord of the Rings, though its ownership of New Line Cinema. New Line had massive global box office hits and Oscar wins with the director Peter Jackson's trilogy Fellowship of the Ring, 2001, The Two Towers, blah, blah, blah. Last year announced plans for an anime theatrical feature to produce with New Line and Warner Brothers Animation, which I'm kind of looking forward to, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. But it's understood that if the Zantz company view substantial live-action film rights reverted back to them last year in part because of Warner Brothers had not been actively developing a new Lord of the Rings and related content. That development plus the anticipation for the new Amazon series was enough to convince Zantz company that the time was ripe for a sale. Warner Brothers declined to comment, but it believes that the studio and Zantz companies are already at odds over the control when it comes to Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit's rights, which have been the subject of extensive litigation over the years. Yes, Warner Brothers, which is currently in transition. Everything's in transition in Hollywood. So they're going to fight this. They're going to say they have the rights. I don't think Warner Brothers wants anything stepping on their classic film. I don't think they need to worry about it, to be honest with you. Saul Zaentz, an entrepreneur in music and film who died in 2017, acquired film adaptation and other rights to various Tolkien titles in 1976. One form of media that was carved out of the deal with Zantz back in the 1970s was the right to produce a TV series that was longer than 8 episodes. That loophole allowed Amazon to cut a deal directly with the Tolkien estate for the Rings of Power series in 2017 when the Tolkien estate shopped the TV series. In the early 2000s, Zantz company sued Warner Brothers and New Line over its share of profit from the Jackson movie trilogy. The Tolkien estate and the publisher HarperCollins sued Warner Brothers multiple times over profits from the Lord of the Rings films and the 3 Hobbit features. The Hobbit, Warner Brothers is terrible. Based in Berkeley, California, Zantz company, I'll repeat that again, based in Berkeley, California, Zantz company is home to Middle-earth Enterprises, which handles its Tolkien-related licensing. Zantz first made his name as a longtime leader of Fantasy Records, an influential jazz and rock label in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. He also produced such movies as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Amadeus, and The English Patient, all 3 of which earned Oscars for Best Picture. Oh my. Well, I don't think there's any danger of any film coming out soon because Warner Brothers is going to fight this. And Saul Zaentz, it sounds like he can make movies based on Unfinished Tales and Silmarillion. But that's going to step on Amazon's series, which I'm not upset about. I'm not upset about. You see how difficult it is to get something good anyway, right? It's difficult to get something good anyway. And then you inject critical race theory, intersectional feminism, and it just makes it harder for it to be good. So it'll be interesting. This is big news. I'll have to change the title of the live stream. All right, let's get to you guys. Yeah, shake my head. I feel you. Just leave shit alone. Make something new. You know, I'm thankful now. I'm grateful that they've abandoned Conan. Like we've heard something is in development, and that might happen. I'll believe it when I see it. But right now, just abandon it. Just fucking leave it alone. Elric. They won't touch Elric. Good. The Witcher. They fucked up in the second season. I'm just going to say it. They fucked it up in the second season. They did. I love fantasy as a genre. We're at a time where it's easier to make. But fantasy is, because of J.R.R. Tolkien, is based in a certain time with a certain aesthetic that they just refuse to. When you can do other things, you can make brand new things. It's going to be interesting. I have a feeling we'll find out very soon who bought this. I don't think it's, well, it depends though. Now that I read it, it's questionable. I would say it's very questionable if there is film rights, because that's what you want. That's what this headline said. Film rights. Film rights to The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. All the other shit, I mean, it's good to have games and stuff, but if it doesn't match something with film rights, then you're doing something on your own, maybe based on the book, which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind at all. I'd love for there to be a book-based action figure line. That would be kick-ass. They did the Ralph Bakshi action figures. Fucking expensive. Those things are expensive. I don't know if anybody will bite on this. Why would you spend $2 billion on something that you could end up in litigation for? That would be my question. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out. The Tolkien estate, all the heirs of the Tolkien estate have enough money to live off the rest of their lives. I've seen interviews with some of them. You know, they seem like nice people, but they're all like trust fund kids. They haven't worked, you know, which makes me wonder. Makes me wonder. I'll be doing some digging on this one. I'm not going to come out half-cocked. Thank you, Lady Greymaster, for sending this to me. I really appreciate it. Go check out Lady Greymaster. She'll break this stuff down. We'll break this stuff down. I will be reviewing every episode of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Starting September 2nd, I will be live after the first episode airs. That's how this channel got its start, was going live after TV shows. There just hasn't been. Actually, I probably should have done Reacher. I should have done, but that one, I think they dumped it all at once, and I can't do all that. But I think the next show I will be reviewing is going to, if it does come out in April, we haven't heard anything. This is just an assumption. House of the Dragon. I don't even know what the next Marvel thing is. I don't care. And there's a trailer. There's a Lord of the Rings trailer coming out Saturday, so I'm definitely doing a video on that. And there's a California video. Okay, back to your guys' questions. Thanks for waiting. We are... There you are. Or maybe we could crowdfund. That's what Lady Greymaster was... I think 2 billion's a little beyond my crowdfunding capabilities. J.S. Pena says for $1.99, man, I like Sense8, but I can see why you don't. Yeah, the characters, I didn't like any of the characters, and I'm a very character-driven person. I need to like characters. It can't be just plot things happening with people. I need to kind of give a shit. Can you upload to podcast as well, says J.S. Pena for $1.99. Yeah. I got to talk to Quarterback Garrett after this episode, after this show. So he and I are going to figure out a way to get those podcasts up. I tried. I removed a bunch of stuff from the website that you guys don't listen to, and it wasn't enough, which is concerning, which is very concerning. Quantum Ranger Power. It's almost like WordPress doesn't want me to upload, but we'll see. Quantum Ranger Power for $2. Selling Lord of the Rings before the show tanks franchise value. It does when you think, I think they're trying to maximize it, but I think you're right. It could tank it depending on what happens. I saw that headline and I just automatically thought Amazon's going to buy this thing without a doubt. But then when you get further on in the article, and it's not really for the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit's film rights, it's a possibility. So you're going to pay $2 billion, $3 billion for maybe the possibility of remaking The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. And except you're going to have to get into litigation with Warner Brothers or whoever owns Warner Brothers. It'll probably be 3 other companies from now. They'll probably sell 3 more times because they're so fucking stupid. Paint Chips for $19.99 says, gonna take a lot of sound baffling with all the reflective concrete, but I look forward to my Nerdrotic painting getting the overheat, the strangeness of the streams. Oh, there's no concrete in there. Paint Chips, those are sound pads. I don't know if I'm misunderstanding you, if you're misunderstanding me, but those are foam, like in here. Those are foam sound pads or soundproofing pads. Sound pads, foam soundproofing pads. Kelly Johnson for $2 says Gary fears as. Do I? No. As is my boy. Star Wars died when George put it on the shelf and concentrated on Indiana. He finally sells with Kathleen Kennedy to become a legacy like Stan Lee, which it won't ever be. Hail. Misha Gingered Sparky for $6.99 Canadian. You're right. I think that's how he envisioned it, and it just didn't happen that way. Kathleen Kennedy didn't want to be George's spokesperson. She wanted to be in charge. She took the power and ran. And she sucked at it miserably. Same Twitter handle. Also, I sent it to your DM. Says 860 saying gone. Okay, so let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Wow, she's way along. Holy shit. That means they wrapped a long time ago. That ain't a baby bump. Look at Jodie Whittaker, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, congratulations to Jodie Whittaker being a mama. Being a mama. They said, I heard she was pregnant and she had a baby bump, but that ain't a baby bump, dude. She's months along. She is months and months along. I don't think she's going to be in the special unless she pops out the kid, gets in shape, and comes back in it. I don't think she's going to be in the special. I could be wrong. Congratulations to the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, on being a mama. Are you a gender neutral mom or are you an actual mom? Are you going to have a gender reveal party for your little baby? My unsolicited advice, don't put that shit on your kid, or you're going to have a crazy Hollywood entertainment kid who with lots of rehab bills by the time they're 14 years old. But best of luck to your kid, really. Seriously, don't put that shit on him, though, Jody. Don't put that shit on him. Well, Albert for $5. Okay, I read that one. Kelly Johnson. Gary fears as. I don't even know what sparks that. That's weird. All right, we got those in there. I'm just trying to make sure we got them all before I... Caligula for $20. Gary doesn't fear Az. He only fears Az's gorgeous looks. Well, I'm jealous. I mean, if that's what you're saying, I'm jealous. Yes, I'm jealous. I wish I had those good looks. Of course. He's the meat of Friday Night Tights. Like, he is there to be objectified. Sexy motherfucker. They're trying to dump the film rights before Amazon series makes it a worthless... okay, that's what maybe the other guy said. Yes. They're trying to dump the film rights before Amazon makes it worthless as all our favorite IPs. Trust me, the timing proves that their last chance to cash in. Agent Zero, you might not be wrong. And again, let's go back to why they have waited so long to show us anything from the series. They won't even tell us who the cast is playing. So it's supposed to be a slow rollout. The thing is, nobody's going to know who these fucking characters are outside of Galadriel and Elrond. Nobody's going to know who fucking anybody is. I don't know if Arwen's going to be in it or not. But how many people know that her name is Arwen? Let's be real. How many people actually know what her name is? They just go, Liv Tyler. She's Awin or Arwen or Iwin or Ewin or somebody. That's what most people think. Okay, so let's be real. I think they know they have a turd, and there was tons of rumors from before that they fired the season 1 writing staff, which was filled with people like from Breaking Bad. We don't even know who's still there. That initial teaser trailer where it showed all the people working on it, half those people are gone. Half of them are gone, including Tom Shippey. So I saw the trailer. And like, I didn't see like a 4K copy. Okay. It looks like the effects are pretty good. They weren't polished yet, but it looks like those are good. First thing you see is what I believe was it's something with pointy ears. I didn't see at what size it was. Okay. But a person of color with pointy ears catching an arrow. And then a woman in, I believe, armor, like I said, climbing a mountain, like a cliff. It's kind of, it takes you back to where the Nazgul were buried in The Hobbit. I don't know if it's connected to that, but it made me think of that. Agent Zero, Caligula, bless your hearts. We've got a $50 super chat from the Grizzly. The new Scream movie is in the new Scream movie. The new Scream movie is work. No black person dies. The killer in Scream is a toxic fan. Good news. They mention Geeks and Gamers and having Rian Johnson. Every Friday night, Titer needs to support by walking into the theater in a clown costume. Do they mention Jeremy? How did Jeremy miss that? I mean, is there a direct reference? That's hilarious. That'd be so fucking awesome. What a win. What a massive win. Dylan, yes. I saw the actual thing, yeah. I did. It doesn't really tell you much. Female hobbit. Unless it was a female dwarf and they don't have beards. That could be a possibility, but female hobbit too. As said, it's diverse, inclusion, diverse, inclusion. Lord of the Rings of power. Once again, from the Grizzly for $50, he says, in the new Scream movie in the works, no black person dies. The killer is Scream is a toxic fan. Good news, they mentioned Geeks and Gamers and having Rian Johnson. On Friday Night Tights, tighter needs to support by walking into the theater in clown costume. You know what? I guess I'll be most happy when they clown Friday Night Tights in a movie. Like they do some parody of us, and that and it's not just for me, guys. It's for you. Okay. You are the power. I've always said that. You in the chat I'm staring at right now. You are the power. Okay. They see these chats. They see real-time comments to their TV shows, to their news announcements. It's valuable to them. That's why on occasion they contact us. But like, I don't care about that. It's not my priority. It's not my priority, but bless your heart, chat. You guys are the power. And that's what they freak out about. And they should. They should. Hollywood has been at a crossroads, and it took the wrong fucking road. It took the wrong road. What did Tim Pool said last night? That he thinks the culture war is over. I could not disagree more. I think Tim Pool is dead wrong on that one. The culture war is far from over. We might not be winning, but it ain't over. And we will win. Shit's turning around. People are getting fed up with woke. More and more people are calling it out every single day. Going after Joe Rogan might seem disheartening, but that woke up millions more people. They went after the wrong guy. And even taking Joe out isn't going to stop anything. It's not going to stop you. Oh, they could take something out as big as Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan went to Spotify. He made it easier for him to take out. You know what? If Joe Rogan just did his own website and collected his own money, he would be richer right now. But I think there's a Hollywood mentality to have having other people pay for your shit makes it more valid. I'm not really sure. I think it's more valid when you're crowd funded. Now, I make ad money too. I do, off my videos. I certainly do. But I think, no, I don't think you're valid when a giant corporation puts strings on you. I don't think anytime there's strings on you that you lose a little authenticity. And I like Joe. I do. Again, highly recommend his last one with Randall Carlson. It's 3 hours. It's fucking fantastic. It should have been 6 hours, but, you could tell. You look at Joe in that interview. You could tell he's a little distraught. And I understand. He's probably hasn't been through this kind of pressure before. Try getting interrogated by 4 ATF agents for 4 hours if you want to feel pressure. When you're 19. Had to fucking wipe after that. Would you watch the Snowpiercer series? It's on Netflix and it's not bad. Wonder what people who have seen it. What are your thoughts? I'll check it out. I saw the movie and I thought it was okay. Thought the movie was okay. I'll check it out. Okay. My daughter is Arwen Evenstar. Says Tyrannus Cygnus for $2. My son is Logan Tiberius. I dig Arwen as a character in the movie. Totally, like completely everything that she does is made up and she takes other characters' stuff. Don't care. I liked it in the movie. Gary should fight for Lord of the Rings rights like he did in Prison Brawls. Well, Kelly Johnson, I don't necessarily think that might be the best plan of action because I was exactly 50% on my Prison Brawls. I was 5 for 5. Yeah. I was batting 500. I guess that sounds good, but it's not. I was 5 and 5. 5 losses. 5 narrow victories. Yasser Ansari for $4.49 says, "Hey Gary, you got me to buy my first comic from the Web of Spider-Man series. Also, do you know if Nerdrotic Geek Grind coffee ships to the UK. It does now. It absolutely does now, Yasser. Starting in January. Link below. The Grizzly for, thanks again for the $50 donation. I appreciate it. Rob Brecht. Lena Arts for £2. Boba was a horror show made by kids for kids. Yeah, for kids who aren't, none of the kids are going to like that shit. I mean, like, I really, Hollywood's never understood kids other than their creepiness, but kids don't need to be talked down to. I liked all the shit that, I liked Blade Runner when I was 12. When I was 12, that's when I saw it, and I liked it. Not applicable for $2. Poor kid, British and Whitaker. That's a rough life. Oh, well, British ain't so bad. Whitaker, maybe so bad. As storyteller Nyland for $50, have you figured out why in the, and that's ... Doomcock and others were praising Boba Fett and the sort? I mean, just different taste, I think. That's all. I think they saw some value in it. And that's their prerogative. Absolutely their prerogative. I didn't, but I mean, they watched it and I didn't. So that's the big difference. So they have more context than I do because I didn't watch the entire series. I refused to watch the entire series. I just dipped in for the Luke Skywalker. I dipped in on the 5th episode and I watched most of that one. I watched all of the 6th. And then on the 7th, I just went to the Grogu parts and I just I took my little cursor and I skimmed through it. And I watched Boba Fett and Cad Bane fight for like 2 seconds. And that's how much I didn't care. And then I went right back to watching Reacher, which I liked, which like I wasn't paying attention to all the episodes. So I just went back and just repeated them until I felt like I got through I think I watched the 4th episode like 3 times, but I was like in my bathroom packing shit, so I wasn't getting it all. Reacher, I can give you a thumbs up on that one. I wouldn't say like 2 thumbs up. I wouldn't say like, you got to see it. It's the greatest thing ever. It's just good. It's good. I think it's pretty like normal good. I think the guy that got playing Reacher is a good lead. I think and Reacher's supposed to be like this giant guy, right? I think that was the criticism for the Tom Cruise movies, which I didn't see because I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Cruise. But Reacher, thumbs up. Book of Boba Fett finale. It was disappointing to most people that I could see. Some people were like, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And that's fine. That's fine. But as far as other YouTubers reviewing it, that is their prerogative, obviously, and it's their opinion. And they have a better context of it than I do because they watched it. I didn't. I'm not reviewing it. I stand with Gina Carano. That has not changed. J.S. Pena. I already answered that one. All right. We good. All right. I'm going to dip. Wait. Let's get this $19.99 right here from Vasidius for $19.99. Did some quick checking. ACF Investment Bank has done multiple deals with Amazon. One, they repped Anchorage Capital Group. Anchorage Capital Group was the largest investor of MGM. They made $2 billion in the sale to Amazon, which is still, Vasidius, correct me if I'm wrong, which is still needs to be approved by the government. I think this is all an attempt for them to get all the rights to Lord of the Rings, and Amazon could fight Warner Brothers. Amazon can fight Warner Brothers. If I was Amazon, I would just go, we'll give you a little piece of the pie. We'll give you like 10%. You guys aren't doing anything anyway. We give you 10%. Shut the fuck up. We're going to make more Lord of the Rings. Then I'm going to get angry. Gina for Friday Night Tights. Gina has an open invitation to Friday Night Tights. I don't know if she's done a big group live stream. I also know she is busy as hell. She is very busy. I don't talk to her. Like, we've exchanged a couple of DMs like over the last 2 years. We're not, I have no idea. I'm just assuming that being, a producer, making multiple movies, she's probably busy as hell. I'd love to have her on, though. Absolutely love to have her on. Hail Gina Carano. We love her. She's great. I'm just staring at a pregnant Jodie Whittaker. That is such a heteronormative thing to do. Don't you agree? Don't you agree? Heteronormative. And thanks for passing that on. 860 saying God. I appreciate you. I do. All right. Thanks, everybody. Got to keep this one very short. I will make some announcements right now. How would you like a big announcement? You want a big announcement? Let's do a big announcement. Nerdrotic Nooner is going to be 3 days a week. It's going to be in the morning. It's going to be 2 hours long. I don't want to assume anything. If we don't get to every super chat and stuff, we've got a formula we're going to try to use, then that will be done on the weekends. And I'm going as fast as I can on that one. And it's not fast enough, but I'll have more time once I get settled in Texas. In the meantime, going to make more videos. There won't be as many live streams over the next, there might, like I said, if there's going to be a live stream from the studio next week, it'll be Monday, but that's it. Friday Night Tights will be from Texas. And I don't think I'm going to try to get on a real BBC, but it might be from the road. So it's going to be really iffy for the next week and a half. That's why I'm going to be relying mostly on videos. So sorry about that. But when the Nerdrotic Nooner starts, Garrett will be there as my engineer. So he'll be popping in once in a while. There'll definitely be solo ones. But on Wednesday, the Nerdrotic Nooner, time to be announced yet. We don't have announced, but I have a co-host for Wednesday. And that co-host is Chris Gore. Chris Gore is going to be joining me over here. I think he fits in really good with our crowd over here. I don't think I'm wrong. I think Chris Gore is freaking great. And yes, so he'll be joining me for one a week. I'll also do the solo ones too, but he'll be joining me for one a week. It'll be tons of fun, along with the real BBC, along with Friday Night Tights and Nerdrotic at Night. And we got a lot of big plans. I think today's video was delayed because Perry's feeling a little under the weather. So hopefully it'll be done tomorrow. Because I didn't hear from him today. So until next time, thanks to the Modrotics. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat and a donation. You help keep the lights on around here. I'm going to check one more time before I go. They're going to start. I think we'll say March. We'll say March 1st. I'm going to do a bunch before that, once I get settled in Texas, but I have to build the studio out too. So we're going to say early March. That's when we get locked into schedules. And that's when basically Nerdrotic relaunches. It's a relaunch, is in March. Which will be good timing because I think our first big thing will be the Batman. I will be making videos. I might not have this pretty little background here all the time. The days of this are numbered, very numbered. So thanks again to everyone, Modrotics, Super Chatters, donators, everybody who just took the time to listen and enjoy. I appreciate you all. And I will see you on Friday Night Tights with Anthony Cumia. Anthony Cumia from Opie and Anthony from the Cumia, from Compound Media. I almost said something wrong. From Compound Media. I am a proud subscriber of Compound Media. So please enjoy some credits. Thank you all once again.
Nerdrotic.com lazy and evil. For years I've watched y'all allow Donald Trump turn you to crazy people. Where's that freedom ego when you must meet them? You bugging like Beatles and lining up gleeful sticking needles in. 2020 was the year that y'all were losing it. Watching smart people I respect turn into lunatics. The rational became irrational. The avenue we travel through will have a few kickbacks will hassle you. Y'all fools so short-sighted, of course you write it. Shut it down, print money, you should be indicted. What you are doing is criminal. And been a fool, the end of you is gonna be the end of you, and your institute is crooked. Fools claiming I hate the police. Too stupid to understand that they are what they eat. Control freaks that'll use their own homies to seek power and then put them on the wall in a week. This industry is full of followers that holler when it's time to make a dollar, and positions that they wallow in are shallow, and they don't understand half the crap that they are swallowing, regurgitating all of it and acting like a scholar. Wait, this about all the contradiction that I can take. I'd rather you get it now, but truth is you kinda late. Your silliness is limitless, and it would benefit your tendencies if you could just focus a little bit in the roller coaster of emotion that you going through. Control the pool, I notice you letting it rolling over you. Logic ain't in a conversation, ain't in the realm of reality.
Oh, we got a super chat here from Indy Toad 7.62 for $20. Thank you. Hey, Gary, first time super chat. Been lurking since Friday Night Tights. Razor Fist. Oh, we got to get him back. Razor Fist, one of the best YouTubers alive. I hate the remastered Return of the Jedi for the CGI Sarlacc pit. Agree. And the stupid musical intro to Jabba's palace. Totally agree with that. Why mess with the OG trilogy? George Lucas brought this on himself. Indy Toad, he did. And I, at the time, I thought it was fine because I always thought we'd have the original series to go back to, and I didn't think that would take over and it would be difficult to find the original copy. I think there's something to be said about leaving your work alone. Unless you truly can just go in and fix an effect that you wanted to fix that doesn't affect the story. I hated the worst part about it is in The Empire Strikes Back, they mess with the editing when the Wampa comes after Luke, and it takes away from the power of that scene. I hate it. Oh, I hate it. So I totally agree. Why go back? Because you're not going forward. You have to go back because you ain't going forward. Thanks, buddy. Bye, everyone. Thank you once again.